Well, we're just checking the environment of 2.4 gigahertz in this area. You see the tower there in the middle of the screen. Right there, left side of the stoplight. Going all the way to the left before the pole that holds all the stoplights up. Definitely got a line of sight, but the environment around the tower is congested with 2.4 gigahertz frequencies. And for some reason, every time I get connected to that sector, and this is the only radio I have connected to it, the radio on the tower disconnects from UNMS for some reason. And it just keeps coming back and going out. As long as I'm not connected to it, it comes up and stays connected to UNMS. Now when it drops out in that software, I don't lose connection. I still have connection to the tower. Not much of a connection, but this close to the tower, I should have better connection than this. Even if I take the CPE and put it outside, it don't change. I think there's something wrong with that radio, prism radio I have on that tower. I'm gonna go different location, get a little closer and see what I can do. Well, I even more thinking something's wrong with that radio or the antenna or something, because I've tried another CPE, a light, let's see, Power Beam M2 400, I think it was, and it kept on disconnecting just like this one here. And I got a better line of sight now. As you can, you should be able to see it in the middle of the screen, right on the right side of that that sign there. You see a tower. Between the sign and the telephone pole, you see a tower. I might be half a mile, 3/4 of a mile maybe, if that far. And the radio, the AP, I have the output power set at 24, maximum is 27. So I know it should be sending out, you know, the signal and everything, and I got it to channel width at 20 because it's quite noisy here. But it's not showing up on the CPE at all. Nowhere. It just all of a sudden just disappeared. I was getting like 40, 50 down, and all of a sudden it just disappeared. And every time it done a speed test, the AP disconnected from the UNMS. So I think there's something wrong with something at the tower. I want to say it's going to be the radio, which is the prism radio, or something. It should not disconnect just because I connect up just one CPE to it, and now it's not showing up at all, but it's showing up in the UNMS indicating it's still connected to the internet, but it's not sending out anything even though it says it is. And I've never had any clients connected to this sector. I just put this one up 2.4 because I know this direction there's a lot of trees, so I might have to go up there and change out the radio. Let's see what I can do. You see, alright, you see that it's online. You see that I'm online here. It says it's connected. Go here. As you can see, the environment of the remote at the tower is quite noisy. Got a few spots in there that's not. But we got good signal, you know, 6x, 4x, speeds, you know, doing well. Now come over here and do a speed test. Right there. As soon as I hit speed, it disconnects from UNMS. But it actually physically, you know, don't disconnect. It just disconnects from UNMS. Now the speed's done, which I should be getting more speed than that from here. Waiting for it to show back up in UNMS. Still connected. And there it is, comes back on UNMS. No clue why. Having a hard time to get good speeds and get it connected, and then the tower sector radio, the AP, just disappears and can't be found. Do another test. Speed. See, better speed now. Disconnected. No idea. I think it's the radio. Because I've tried all kinds of different settings on the radio, client isolation, I mean everything that can be turned on and off. I've tried one at a time. Nothing's changing. Now the test is done. Back online. Do another test. Now it hesitates. It hesitates of doing a speed test. But it's still got good connection. But it's hesitating. It's still online. But it's hesitating of doing a speed test. I mean, I got 118 over here. 56. And there it goes. It's offline. Go back to speed test. Couldn't do it. Now it does. Still offline. Still offline. I mean, I can see if it don't get good speed because the environment, it is kind of real congested here because you got a lot of oranges, you got reds, orange, red, orange, yellows, a green here, a green there, a green there, green there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 greens. The rest of it's yellow, orange, or red. Now I can see if you don't get good speeds because of that. But disconnecting from UNMS and not showing up, let's get over here, not showing up in the list here from time to time for apparent no reason. No configuration in the radio has been changed, and it just disappears. And you see it's 6285, more than enough for it to show up every time, and it don't. Now it's back online. I just may have to change that radio out, do another test. We'll see. I found that I do not have to go back up on the tower to change the radio, to check the radio, check the wires, check the cables that's feeding it. All I had to do to fix the problem that was created by myself is the IP on the CPE. I used to use a certain IP start for the router. Then I had a range that I used for all the APs and all the other stuff that used at the tower. A range, like say from, the router goes, 0.1, say 1.1, then the first AP would be 1.2, the next one would be 1.3, and a switch would be 1.4, and so on, all the way up to 10. That range is everything in-house. Then 1.11 would be the first CPE. That's what I went with. But I used to do it a different way. And what happened is I wasn't thinking. I put the AP and that CPE on one, it was at 2.2. Both of them. 2.2. The router was on 2.1. The AP was on 2.2. The CPE was on 2.2 as well. That's why I had all the trouble. And I thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute. Did I go in there and switch this or not? I went in there because I had the radio tied to another tower that used the same ranges, but the router used 2.0. So everything moved up one, so I forgot to take the CP and move it up to, on this tower, I start everything at 2.11. My mistake. That's why I had all the trouble. So whenever you set up a CPE and it starts giving you trouble, sometimes it works and sometimes it don't, go in there and check all your configurations and be sure something that conflicting with the other. I'm surprised that I got internet access at all since it had the same IP as the AP. Go figure. But that's what I had a problem with, is the AP CPE had the exact same IP. I changed it while I was out in the field. It was pitch dark when I finally thought of it, and I drove back to them spots, and it lit up like a Christmas tree, and I was doing somewhere around 50 and 55 down and 9 and 10 up, no issues. Go figure. But that's what the issue was. You do something for so long, it becomes a habit, and you just overlook something so simple. It happens. So now I got to go put out some door hangers in this area since I know it's going to work now. I got behind some, I found some spots in the radius where that AP points, and I had a church out there, and I got the church between me and the tower and some trees between me and the tower. I had some trees in the church. I put a church between the CPE and the AP. I put trees between the CPE and the AP, and I put trees and church between the CPE and the AP all at the same time, just to see, since I changed the IP on it, if it actually made a difference. It still actually picked up. I didn't get much. I was still getting 15, 18 down and about 3.5 up, but still was working. Just checking configurations. But it drove me nuts for like an hour and a half. I just couldn't figure it out. I looked at everything except the IP. Changed it, it all worked. Now I go put out some door hangers. I will have to turn the AP a little bit to get this development that I found that has 50 residents in it. It has very little trees from between the AP and the CPE, because the tower goes over water, which there's no trees, and right when it gets to that development, there's like a line of trees that's maybe 30 yards thick, and they were actually trimming out the trees around that development, so they're really thin. As I rode through that development during the day, I can peek through the trees and see the tower. Shouldn't have any issue of getting internet in that area. Hopefully somebody wants to jump on and get internet. If they do, you'll see a video of it here.